we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
It's Sunday evening once again, and yes, that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. This is episode 145 coming your way. We're going to be breaking down the Auburn versus Georgia game and talking a little bit about all the other festivities of that weekend, along with Auburn Potpourri, covering you all the plethora of Auburn news that's out there. So much to get into as always. Let's do it right now. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. Say it with me if it's orange and blue. It is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing today on episode 145 of the Auburn Experience podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Loomis. Alongside with me, finally, after we missed last week's episode, all because of me. He waited patiently to get my answer on that. Austin Scott, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, War Eagle Kyle, War Eagle to our viewers and listeners. Glad to be back. And this is our first show of October, so that's pretty wild. But we're happy to be here and happy to be back with everybody with always plenty to talk about.
And it feels like it's only going to get busier over the next. Listen,
so.
Just from like the fact that like basketball is going to be gearing up. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Just all of it encompassing in this. So we say it a lot. Always, there's a lot to talk about, and so much is the case here today. So just as your quick preview, today we're going to be talking about Auburn versus Georgia, the recap of the game, what we need to discuss from that breakdown, and then the other stuff from the weekend, because there was a lot. Cam Newton jersey retirement, the new band show that we've got out for you now if you want to check it out. Plenty of other things as well as also an Auburn Potpourri. But to kind of get us going and maybe even do just all the things, housekeeping, all that stuff. Once again, let me acknowledge for those of you that are watching live, I am okay. I am alive. Those of you saw I was in Auburn this weekend. Everything's a little crazy. I'm in a different location. This is not the mobile broadcast studio or the studio. This is a pillow behind my back so I don't hurt my back, as I learned about last week. If you noticed that back there, I'm pulling the curtain back all the way here. I'm hearing this weird utterance of like clangah all around where I am right now, and I don't know what it is. So basically, I've said this 1,000 different places, folks. We're in a very busy season of life. Personally here, everything is good. Everything is great. We appreciate prayers for God's provision for what we've got going on right now, and we'll hopefully be able to talk about a lot of that lately. But you will see me either behind this wall, the mobile broadcast studio, or wherever else I can find a way to do content for you all for a while. So I feel like I should say more. I just can't right now, but that's the best I can utter or get out there for people right now.
I hear you. Well, I got to see you in person yesterday, so I can affirm and attest that you are alive and well, and all is good, and everything is going.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Can we talk about where I saw you yesterday?
Yes. So I saw Kyle at the College of Education's tailgate for some donors they had going. Neither Kyle or myself were donors at the College of Education tailgate.
I did not stop to partake. I just stopped by to say
we did not stop to partake, but he stopped by because this was my first week working for the Auburn University College of Education. I took a job there here about a month ago, I guess, and now have started working there. So I'm officially an employee at Auburn University, and it was a busy week, a fun week, but a very good one. And so I'm very thankful. It's very good for our family, and I'm grateful to be able to work at a university I love so much and get to give back to it some of what it's given to me. So very exciting times, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I got to see Kyle, and Kyle got to see me in a little bit of work action.
I did.
So we can both attest that we are both doing okay.
We're doing okay. And listen, now we just can't trust anything you say because you're bought and paid for by the man. I mean,
That's exactly right.
That's exactly what's going on here right now.
State government employee.
Listen, you and I both know how much we love the university. Obviously, the sports aspect of everything with it, and I think if it makes sense for you to be able to work in some capacity for something that you love so much, certainly take that full advantage of that. And it's great to, especially you have perspectives. Obviously, we're gonna obviously make sure Austin takes care of himself and his family and never puts himself in jeopardy. But just having someone who sees the other side that's not talked about, like the academic side. So if there's ever anything special, anything that they want to share, anything like that, you personally know this, but I'll speak to you in the professional sense as well. Please share with us anything that the College of Education wants out there in terms of information and stuff, because we love promoting all things Auburn here. You know that. Our audience knows that. So we're excited for Austin, and we're excited that he gets this opportunity to officially be part of the system and be part of the problem in some people's minds.
That's right. It's fun. It's going to be a wild ride, and we're looking forward to it.
It is. One quick note that I want to finish up here, and just intro stuff, housekeeping. Oftentimes I want to say this for me personally, but we don't do enough job of elevating the productive voices, especially in the Auburn sports audience and stuff. And so what I'm referencing here, we're going to get to football stuff here in a second. Obviously, this is not a fun topic again this week. Here we go. But we'll get there. Hang on. But what I want to do, and I've said this before, I want to elevate when our audience especially just shines and rises to the occasion. Too often it's happened where we've had post-game shows that just aren't great. They aren't fun. There's not a lot of exciting to talk about. And yeah, you can slip back into those old ways of fire this person, bench this person, all this. And folks, I'm just kind of done with that stuff. And I just want to commend our audience last night. We had some very frank conversations. We're all displeased, but I said this last night on the show. I want to say this again here. The vast majority of our audience was just outstanding, great conversations, very frank conversations, but just more than just the typical, I'm going to say what I want to say about Hugh Freeze or Jackson Arnold and all this kind of stuff. So I know it was late for you, so you probably didn't get to see any of that. I wanted to give some kudos to those of you that joined us on the live show. And it makes me especially, but us feel good when we know that you all are kind of coming together in a natural way here and finding people that are like-minded, that are looking for something a little bit more substantive than the typical message board, social media drama, and that y'all are a great podcaster that I admire very much. She said it this way: is like, I've created the clubhouse, but the clubhouse is only a clubhouse if you populate it. And so kudos. I guess what I'm saying is kudos to our audience, and kudos to you all.
That's encouraging to hear. It's not fun. Nobody's shying away from that. I don't think any of us are having a really good time. But there's a way to handle it, and a way you can approach the attitude. You can control the attitude you have around it. Most of you, if not all of you, cannot control what is happening on the field and around it. But you can control how your response is to it. And I think Kyle and I've said that for a long time, and have tried to implore that is what we should be focusing on the most. Certainly we can all have different opinions, but we can all provide those in a way that is a manner that is human and also reflective of the creed that we talk about here so much. So that's very encouraging to hear.
Take note, Kyle, shut up. Let Austin just say it. Marketing person working for College of Education. It's like he's qualified for it. Shut up.
It's the orientation still in the back of my mind. I'm hearing all the what am I looking for here? Now you've complimented me on finding the right words, and now I'm losing it. It's the script. The script they provide. They point. This is what you will say.
This is what you will not do. Do not ever do this or say the creed this way or whatever.
That's right.
Well done all the way around. So our tip of the cap to you, our audience. We appreciate that, because we consider you more than audience. We consider you a family, and you've done a great job, especially right now while things aren't so fun. And saddle up, folks. You never know. Things just could even get a little bit more interesting. You just never know. All right, let's talk about some Auburn potpourri stuff. Certainly, this will be a little bit more interesting in terms of just some general stuff. We will start off with some football stuff. And frankly, Austin and I talked about this. It could be a segment unto itself. Just the news, and then how do we handle it? So we got to do a good job here of trying to put this together. So once again, shut up, Kyle, get to it. All right. So the news this past week, that was the biggest thing, is that the announcement came down that for the Auburn Baylor series, which was originally scheduled to be a home and home, we won this one this past year with Baylor, one of the few wins at this point. So we were looking forward to a return trip for the Baylor Bears here in the loveliest village on the plains. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The game will continue, but in Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, part of the Aflac kickoff game, which will be the fourth time that the Auburn Tigers will take part in this event. First since 2018. I was there. We won that one. I'm just saying. I don't curse things like Austin does, apparently.
Is that Washington?
It was a very fun game. Jake Browning, he had a great game too.
Washington, Louisville. Can I remember the other one?
Off the top.
I'll think on it. You keep going.
Yeah. So the game will be moved. Instead of being at home to start off the game, it will be a neutral site with Auburn still remaining as the home team.
Clemson?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll go with it. But that's what's happening, folks. So yeah, there's feelings, the reasoning. I'm gonna just ready everybody right now. NIL. So that's it. I mean, I'm sure it's not as simple as that. There are more nuances to it, but just to put it to a finer point, opportunities for student athletes to earn money. I have my reactions. I want to give you the floor before I do that.
Yeah. Look, I'm not happy about it in particular. I do want to say, I think that the people who had to make the decision, I can understand it. Mm-hmm. I want to say that I don't love it. I'm not happy about it. I do think that, we've talked about on this show before about how the NIL world was opening Pandora's box, and now, and the majority of college athletics administration has been trying to put stuff back in ever since it started, and it's just not working. But they are trying to play by the rules I say rules very loosely, play by the rules that are now out there. And many of them need to play by those rules in order to try and keep their jobs. And so I understand that there's a large chunk. It looks like close to $5 million. It goes toward helping Auburn maintain a roster in the name, image, and likeness space. That they'll benefit from playing this game in Atlanta and being able to promote it and things like that. But it takes a home game away from Auburn. And I say it takes a home game away from Auburn because I mean the city of Auburn, the Auburn University people, the people that live in the city, the people that own businesses in the city, and that just does not sit right, especially considering the city budget was approved a couple of days before. So I just, it doesn't sit right with me. I do want to say I understand why it happened.
Yep.
I still don't think it's the right way to go about it and the right way to do things. I think they can get to a point where someone has to say, we're just not that's a bridge too far for us to cross. And I wish that Auburn had done that in this sense. Now I recognize that, you're going to still be wanting a competitive team, and that gives you potentially a way to compete. I don't think it means that much to me, especially after coming off such an atmosphere this weekend. So it's unfortunate from a personal standpoint. Really quickly, I went to Baylor this year. Cal and I have talked about, we have family connections with Baylor. I was really looking forward to having Baylor come here. They were excellent hosts, great people. And that will not happen. And that's just really unfortunate.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles you can take this. I think we all agree we would prefer this to be on the loveliest village on the plains, no matter how hot it was going to be. Could be hotter than Texas, so I guess it could be if we get one of those record things like we had a couple years ago. But you were kind of going there. I'll take the other angle on this. Not happy about it, obviously, but I understand it. And frankly, if you're someone who's screaming about this, you would be the same people screaming when you didn't get the recruits that you wanted because they didn't take every opportunity they could. So you cannot not like it, but also understand it, as you said, as well. To me, that's the biggest negative for me is I want to take myself and the fandom part out of it is the city of Auburn. And that's what we really, the university doesn't exist without the city or and vice versa, like they're two of the same entity essentially. So that's what it really is disappointing for us. The great thing is that it's in an area that's not too hard to get to. It's not like we're going out to Dallas, which there's more Auburn people out there too, but like this is
It
at
will
least
still
a fair
be
shot.
a majority of Auburn fans in the stadium,
By a
right?
lot.
But by a lot. But it's just not our place. And that, especially after going to their place already. I will say too, and I know that this is the first public one to drop. This I strongly believe this is about to be a trend. You know, we got away from neutral site games. We as in college football in general. And home and homes, like big time home and homes, became the thing, and this is their way of getting back in the game. And I understand it from their perspective, especially from Aflac, from whoever else is contributing, the Peach Bowl, all these things. I understand it. So, you know, it's a smart business decision for all the way around, probably, but it's just unfortunate that it's Auburn and that we're the ones not being able to benefit from the home game.
I want to make a quick prediction off of this because we have 2 open dates for the next 2 seasons available for major non-conference opponents when the UCLA contract was voided, essentially.
Yes,
for that
27 and 28, right?
Right. Yes. So right now there are 2 open dates which look very prime for a home and home series. Given what just transpired, my opinion was that would be one of 2 people that were available, Virginia or USC. I don't know if they're still available, actual Southern Cal. I still think it'll be one of the 2, but I'm gonna go ahead and predict if it's Virginia, we play 1 game in Charlotte, and then 1 in Atlanta. If it's USC, we play 1 in Dallas or Atlanta, or we play 1 at the LA, something out there.
Something close by.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there and predict it. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But here we are. NIL has forever changed the game. No sense in really just commiserating about it at this point. The box has been opened, and this is one of the trickle effects out of it. And we'll wait and see how it continues to trickle on out. Let's move over to basketball with our last bit of potpourri. Lots going on this week. Not only is it the beginning of talking season officially, although practice has already started, so I guess it's technically begun for Auburn men's and women's basketball. SEC Media Days is coming up this week. It's nice to have an SEC Media Days that's still in Birmingham. Let me just say that that was another announcement this week. I know. We can't even have time to go there. That's just. But SEC Media Days for them, or the a tip-off, I guess is what they call it specifically. But you knew what I meant. And so they'll both be there for that. So you can check out Coach Larry Vickers and his lady representatives, Auburn Tigers, their representatives. That's going to be October the 15th. So please, and I believe the men and women are on the same day, correct?
I believe so.
I think that is the case. So October the 15th in Birmingham. For the men, we know that Tahad Pettiford, Keyshawn Murphy, and Keyshawn Hall are joining. Coach Stephen Pearl. I've got to get used to saying that and not just like assume BP. I feel like I'm just going to keep saying BP, and I can't make SP flow as well.
You just need to get Coach Pearl. You just need to get
Coach Pearl.
Yeah,
Coach Pearl.
Right.
But we never called Bruce Coach Pearl.
Yeah,
it was just BP or Bruce. So we'll get it. Stephen, I promise we'll get there. Because we really are excited, as we talked about an episode ago. It was 2 weeks ago, but an episode ago. So real quick on this, representatives Tahad and the Murphy, not Murphys, the Keyshawns, just spelled differently. I think they're 3 great options. And can I point out, it's not very common that you have 3 go to the tip-off. It's usually 2 or 1 that go with the head coach to this event, at least from what I remember. So I think that speaks to the importance of these 3 right here that are coming.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that, it sounds like Tahad and Keyshawn Hall were kind of the 2 maybe on the fence on staying at Auburn or not. And now that they are, I think it still speaks a lot to the leadership they possess with this team and how highly Coach Stephen Pearl thinks of them on and off the court. So, those are the 3 I think that are going to be big players for Auburn this season on the court. And certainly they will get the chance to talk about that and all the transition that's coming this year. And so I'm excited for Stephen to get to go be a part of that. I'm sure it's going to be a very, very busy day for him with lots of questions. And, with him and Coach Larry Vickers on their first season.
I know.
And their first SEC, it is their first SEC tip-off. They'll have busy days. So I'm looking forward to hearing what comes of those conversations and the quotes we get to read.
And here's the thing too, from that element, it feels, I don't want to say appropriate, but just like a nice fresh start of everything, a new women's basketball head coach, which we've known for a while now, and then a surprise retirement for maybe not surprise is the right word, just a maybe quicker than we thought retirement, has set this up where this is a fresh start for both to go together to Birmingham and kind of sell their brands of Auburn basketball and their eras together. And it's kind of special when you think about it. So
yeah,
we'll see how both of them transition into those roles that they have now, one being brought in and the other just being prepared for this moment. So exciting times for that. Real quick final note on basketball potpourri stuff, scheduling news. I love talking about scheduling news because it just gets me excited. Quick note, Purdue game is now set for 6:30 Eastern time tip-off on Peacock. That is December 20th. So please, please, please. So many of you are like, what TV is it on? You can always go to the website for Auburn Athletics to see that, but just be aware, if you don't have that app, I believe there's no other way to see it unless,
not that I'm aware. No,
that's just something important to remember. If you're an Auburn basketball fan, and when that important game comes around, you don't want to miss that one too. That's going to be a big, big one in Indianapolis. It's going to be on Peacock. Finally, preseason starts this week. Not only will they be at tip-off, but they're tip-off, SEC tip-off, but they're going to be playing Oklahoma State in Birmingham on that same day. And it's a good opportunity for you, if you're in the Birmingham area, to get your first look at the brand new Stephen Pearl-led basketball team. Although I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of new other than the players that, other than Tahad, are all new. So great opportunity. Probably a quality opponent in Oklahoma State. I wouldn't read too much into anything that you see out of there, but Austin, we're here, man. We're right here.
We're here. It's going to be a fun event, I think, in downtown Birmingham at Boutwell Auditorium. A lot of Auburn fans going to be in the building. I'm sure going to get to see this for the first time. Kyle, I was wondering, this event is not televised, is it?
I don't know that it is. I could have checked on that, but
you're good. I normally these exhibitions
surely
are
radio.
not.
Surely radio.
But I would hope radio. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes of this and kind of what the first look at this team is. But I mean, I think that's going to be a really fun event for a lot of fans to get to see this team for the first time against an opponent. We've already kind of discussed what that is like, and that they're playing a real, Power 5, Power 4, whatever you call it these days, team in your exhibition. So it's a good test to start and a good first of the season for Coach Stephen Pearl.
It's exciting times, man. And it's not just because of how football is doing. It's just exciting when the next round of Auburn sports gets going and the winter season, their preseasons are here. So get revved up. Auburn basketball season. It's here now. Let's talk about our major topics this evening. We'll start off as we typically do during football season. Yeah. Let's just do it. Look, it is what it is, and it be what it be, and it do what it do. We will talk about all the fun stuff in our second segment, but we got to talk about Auburn versus Georgia, the game, which once again is a tale of two halves. Thankfully, this time there was a very exciting first half and until the last 2 minutes.
Most first half. Yeah.
Most first half. So we've got a lot of angles that we need to talk about this on. I think I'm just doing this on the fly. Maybe just some, thoughts in general about the performance of the team. I know people would just scream at us if we didn't, talk about the refs. I do want to say this, though, once again, congratulations to our defense. I mean, just outstanding job. I just want to give them applause.
I'll do it this time. For those not able to watch, you're just missing out when you're not watching live. I
want to give
Kyle's doing a very good clap. Good clap. The smart clap, as we're going to start calling it. Kyle's got a nice form of his clapping there.
So anyway, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the controversial stuff that happened in it, and then we'll maybe talk about future stuff. For me, the game is a tale of two halves. We've got an offense that was just rolling, and up until that final inches of ground, not even inches, Austin. If you go look at, there's an image of them getting ready to do the push, and you can, it's amazing how much more extra space that Georgia was given to do their little push part of it against it. That's for another segment. And after that point, it just went kapoof. Give me something to go with here, because I think I'm just going to go off if you.
The offense came out and got the ball to start the game, and just looked like things were humming. The everybody screaming to run the dang ball. It was happening. It felt like the offense was in a little bit of hurry up mode. I thought about you, Kyle, with that. It looked like there was some tempo was back.
It didn't have to be this way. I'm sorry.
And we'll get there. And so the offense just looked, I don't want to say competent, but it looked like things were all in cohesion, moving fluidly, and Auburn, punched the dogs in the mouth there in the first quarter, most of the first half. Certainly there's areas that they should have taken advantage of in that first half, especially. I think they, seeing Alex kick a field goal is incredible. I will never get tired of being able to see him do that after all he's been through. They missed an opportunity to put points on the board there. And then obviously the tush push fumble call, however you want to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
So just felt like the defense and the offense in the first half did everything they could to be able to come out and pull off the upset like they were looking. It looked like they addressed a lot of things against a really formidable opponent.
Yeah.
And had done what we expected them to do in an atmosphere like that.
I think that's real quick. I want to
go ahead.
Point about what you're saying there. That's what a lot of people are saying. If you come out after 2 weeks off and don't look different, then something's even bigger wrong. And they did. They look completely different. But as Coach talked about in his post games, we're just finding ways to lose. And I forget his phrase he used, but it just looks like the air left out after. We'll talk about the moments and the controversy of it.
Correct.
All. But whatever it is, and here's the other thing too I want to talk about before we'll get to the controversy. I want to recognize Auburn's role in all this. They had every opportunity once again to change the narrative, no matter what they were fighting up against or who they were fighting against. If you don't fumble, there's nothing to talk about, right? So if you don't lose the ball, because it wasn't a fumble, you don't have a problem. So I think that is what's most frustrating about this team. 3 games against quality opponents. Each one of them you made look less than they appear to be. And we're right there and just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think that's important you say that, because I think a lot of people are saying, a lot of people are still taking the blame of the refs a little too far. And I told Emily during the game, even during halftime, said my biggest fear is that we let that what happened there and how we feel robbed bleed over into the second half and affect the rest of the game, affect the way we come out. And I think, I'm not calling anybody dishonest or anything like that. I just think it's hard for me to see that it did not bleed over and that it was not still on the minds of our team in the second half. And we can talk about the actual call just briefly. I just completely disagree. I
disagree.
I'm with Coach Freeze. I am an orange and blue shirt right now. Like I was in the stands in orange and blue. So I totally understand all that. But I just, for the vantage point of what I see, is that I've always been taught there's that invisible line, right, on the plane, and the ball just has to, centimeters of the ball just has to cross it. To me, it looks like it does. I recognize it's getting punched out. To me, it looks like it happens before that. I feel like the vast majority agree with that statement. But certainly, the way the call stands is upheld. All those things play into it as well. Truth be told, and I think there's I told Emily in the moment too, there's Georgia fans that can agree with this too. It should have been a touchdown regardless for somebody. The play was never.
Did he roll down off the pile onto his back?
Off his fellow player's backside and stood up. From what I've seen, I haven't looked at too much. I've avoided.
I thought he hit the ground, so I'm sorry.
I don't think so, but the play was never blown dead. And so, if there's other fans out there that are still woofing in the distance, they probably are upset with this in some way too. But that's a microcosm of all SEC officiating lately, especially in Auburn games. But and so it's a disgrace, truthfully, that it affects games on the scoreboard like this. Kyle and I talked about this with the Oklahoma game, And again, I this is the third time I'm going to say I told Emily. She's had to hear a lot lately. But I told Emily these are not some what if scenarios on, well, this could have happened, this could have. These are direct points coming off and on the scoreboard.
Yep.
And
I mean, we're talking about centimeters of what's a touchdown.
This is not what if could have happened down there. Like, points are coming on and off the scoreboard, and that's just it. The fact that it's that much of a involvement in the game is just unfortunate. Now, to the point, there's no reason at all that Auburn can come out in the second half and only getting 15 yards of offense like that.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable, and it cannot happen. I recognize how frustrating it was to have to see that and be robbed again, and to feel that for your team and go into a locker room then and have to see the dejected faces of guys, whatever. Somehow, some way, somebody has to speak up and say, we got to, so what? We got to wipe it away. You somehow you got to pull that momentum to say, they're against us. We know it. Let's go and win anyway. Let's go be better anyway. We'll play both of them. Let's take on the refs. Let's take on Georgia. Let's just go out and win it, shove it in their face. And I just don't feel like that kind of energy came out of it. I'm not putting that blame on any certain person or any certain group. I certainly think from being in the stadium, Jordan-Hare Stadium, and the Auburn people gave that energy still. I still think that there was that energy to give and that energy to support the team. And I think it's unfortunate that wasn't reciprocated fully. But
in results, at least
in results and what we saw on the field. So it's unfortunate that it all happened the way it did. But there is certainly room that Auburn has to respond to be able to make it a game and not just look on that, if that makes sense.
Right. And so for all the Oklahoma fans that I know still live rent-free, or we live rent-free in their heads, that continue to talk about, y'all still talking about that game? Like, actually, we only talk about it when you bring it up, because I know they're just going to take little clips out of this and stuff. We took responsibility. We act like we did something. In our conversation, taking responsibility as a team about what we could have done to do that. This is nowhere near the egregiousness of the Oklahoma game, but it is bad. I want to actually commend our athletic director. And I don't know if Austin agrees with me on this, but I for one, was thrilled to see him leave at the end of the half. I mean, barking louder than any Georgia fan could wish to. At the refs leaving game. Kevin Skarbinski, dude, shut up. Like, I mean, nobody cares what you think. I'm sorry. I'm never that blatant with somebody, but just shut up. You're an idiot. He said things like, it said that you can't do that as an AD. I'm like, oh no, you can.
The holier than thou mentality
and
is
you should
absurd.
When it's been this egregious for a lot of the season. I won't even say most, so people don't think I'm catastrophizing. You can and should do it when it's been this bad. So I want to commend our athletic director, John Cohen, for just showing to go out there and just let them have it, to show that you care. You care about the boys, you care about your coach, you care about things. And no matter what the future happens and holds in that, I just want to say that. So that's how I felt about it. And it was probably one of the bright spots of a very frustrating game.
Yeah.
We talked about defense. Defense was, I thought, phenomenal. Pretty good. They did wear down towards the end, but that's what happens when you play a team of Georgia's caliber with that type of talent, no matter if they're a little bit perceived lower than they've been over the last couple of years. And I think this was a Georgia team that was very susceptible to getting their butts whooped, because this is my opinion. You don't have to believe it if you're out there. Auburn scores that touchdown. They don't. Georgia does not win that game, in my opinion. I think the place would have just been off the charts, losing it there. Georgia would have been throwing desperation things at that point. They would have been calm, cool, and collected. Because let's be honest, if you're a team that's got Auburn within a touchdown in the second half, you're feeling cool. You're feeling calm and collected. You know that if you control the clock, time of possession, you're going to be fine. You're going to get an opportunity. Yeah. They're not going to be able to capitalize off it based off of current results. So that's kind of where we're at. If there's anything else we know about the game we need to talk about, just wrapping it up here, future stuff. Listen, you're never going to hear me. I shouldn't say never. Unlikely will it be the day that I call for someone's job, someone to be benched. Frankly, somehow, I've got this wild notion that the coaches and the people that are actually involved in the program know more than me. Some of y'all need to realize that out there. And so I'm going to trust that they're doing, the best they can to keep their jobs. So I'm not a part of this crowd that wants to fire someone, bench someone. I hardly, if ever, will be. I don't think that that's productive. It doesn't serve anything except yourself. And that's pretty much, against the Auburn creed there, folks. You can call me a creed thumper all you want. That's just how I feel about it. But we are in a moment here where there is talk of Hugh Freeze needing to be / should he be / will he be fired. So within that context, Austin, I guess I don't know how I'm actually asking this. Do you feel like it's warranted at this point if it were to happen?
Yeah, it's one of those things you balance because this is a pattern for Auburn people, right? And I think the people that make fun of those that ask, well, who's going to want to come here if you keep doing that is a valid question.
It is a valid question.
But these are things that we have this conversation every couple of years now. And I think part of it, I understand being frustrated, and I understand we're getting there. I understand being frustrated, and I understand, wanting more. I totally get, like I just said, I thought the atmosphere in the stadium was unmatched. It was exactly what I hoped for when Kyle and I talked about when this was announced in the summer. It was exactly what I wanted. This is not the weather experience, but let me just give it for a minute. The Lord God and the Heavenly Father that made the earth and stars looked on us and smiled with the weather this weekend, because that was October football weather in the SEC.
I need to go back and find that clip of us talking about being excited about this game. And can you imagine if we get just the perfect weather with this? I mean,
we did. Ask and you shall receive. The Lord heard our prayers. I mean, it was gorgeous. Just no sweat, no cold, just perfect. What now? As the day got, the sun was
so hyped at that point. It's just
once you got in the stadium, it felt great. What you were saying though, I personally am looking at that. I think that there's still room to improve. That we all knew this 3-game gauntlet was going to be unworldly of a difficulty for Auburn. I said it a couple weeks ago. There were still many who in the off season. Now I think we all hoped that there would be better on the field appearances, but there were many in the off season that thought Auburn could really go 3-0, 0-3, and go the rest of the way. Who knows if that'll happen? But I think that this week could be a really big week for Auburn to see against, maybe at home, another night game against an opponent that they feel is not top 10 caliber. Now Missouri's a very good team. I really hope that the Mizzou fans don't find this yet and say they're already under. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think we can all agree Alabama, A&M, Oklahoma, Georgia are all a step above right now.
Right.
The rest of the league. And Mizzou is one of those that Auburn at night hopefully has a chance to go and get and maybe try and start to turn this thing around. So I think it's a really big week. Like you said, Kyle and I have never made it ever, as long as I've been a part of this network, ever a point to come on this show and call for someone's job. I don't care how much money they're making. That's not something that I would ever want someone to do to me. And I'm just not going to do it as a person.
Yeah.
And for, well, I don't need to say that, but
he was like, wait a minute, that was on the list for
back it up. Yeah, that's right. So, I understand you can have your opinions. We've always said on the show, you can have your opinions. This goes back to, I think there's a certain way to being able to express those. And at this point, I think we should be very careful on how we do that.
Yeah, definitely. So let me just say this. Let's say it did happen this week for some reason. I would disagree with that decision, because I do feel that it's unwarranted with what just the context matters of that you had these 3 games that were just that. Frankly, I didn't think it was going to be that easy to win one of them, and we had a shot to win all 3 of them. So I do think that the team is close. It's starting to kind of get a little dim about how close we are, but I think beyond this point is when you can start building a type of narrative. If you wanted to say that was the right choice or the wrong choice, if that did happen, we're obviously speaking in a moment where nothing has happened. I would disagree with it at this point, and I would say it didn't have to be this way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's yes, there will be a time to talk about those things, and it might be an off-season thing. But yeah.
Okay,
that's where we're gonna leave it right now.
We'll leave it right there. Obviously,
we're gonna be
real
very
quick.
smart.
Real quick, I do want to ask you, we've been off of my schedule and stuff like this being crazy. I want to do you have a prediction for Auburn versus Missouri?
Oh, good gosh.
Yeah, come on, just don't even think about it, Austin. Just say it at this point. You kind of know what you're getting right now to this team. It's at home night. Surely they got a little bit of fire under them. What do we got?
Sure. Look, and you know what's crazy? I don't know how many people realize this. I heard it like 3 weeks ago when I was watching a game. This will be Mizzou's first road game of the year. It will be October 18th.
We did that recently.
We have not played 6 straight home games to start
you're right.
the year.
Yeah.
Now there's a bye thrown in there, but 6 straight home games. First of all, I think that sounds miserable.
Right.
To start your year in 6 straight home games. However, then you got to go to Jordan Hare at night, right? And I personally think a lot of Eli Drinkwitz. I think he's a very good coach. I think he's the closest thing we have to our Spurrier and Mike Leach days in the SEC. I think he'll be following in the Spurrier Florida visor very soon. That's my prediction for the offseason. But I think that Mizzou is a very good team and a very good coach. I think Auburn has the opportunity, just like we said last week, to come in and make a statement against a team they're closer in talent with. They will have to do it, and they'll have to do it for 4 quarters, something they really haven't done all season. And so I think against that caliber of opponent. So I do think Auburn will win. I think Auburn's going to find a way to beat Missouri. I don't think it'll be pretty, but I think Auburn will find a way to win with so many people's backs against the wall this week. And I will say it will be 23-20.
I will reserve mine for the Thursday night show, assuming we can with my schedule be able to do that this week. I think we'll be able to. But what I want to say is this: they're known for their rush defense. We're known for their rush offense. We're known for our rush defense, and we've gone up against some very formidable, at least decent rush attacks and stymied most of them, if not all of them. I think that says a lot for the upcoming game. So I feel pretty good at this moment. What's going to happen? Who knows what the week will entail, though. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the good stuff. Last major topic this evening. Outside of the football game and the controversy surrounding it, we had a lot going on. You pick your poison, Austin. Not poison, your delicious potion of goodness that kept us sane. Would you like to do Cam Newton or the band first?
Yeah, no, let's start with number 2.
Number two.
Cam.
My brain just broke because number 2 and then the number 2 option.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wondered what you would do. There? I was like,
honestly, when I said it, I was like, oh, I left him up for confusion. But I was going to go with whatever you thought I meant. I was just going to roll with the dice.
Let's talk about Cam Newton. We've known about this moment coming for a while, and we felt for years that it was at least a discussion worth having. I think time has passed enough for this to have happened.
Correct.
Very appropriate that it happens against Georgia, a team that he was reinstated when he was accused of certain things, which have yet to be proven to this date. It was actually Mississippi State, oddly enough. That was the wrong party there. But what a night for Cam Newton. Saw him at Tiger Walk. And with his family, all the kids there, it was awesome to see him just being in the element around the Auburn people. He was running up and down the end zones with the megaphone, just getting people hyped up. And then we had the halftime show once the referees decided to let us have halftime. Sit up there for 30 minutes. I'm just saying, waiting for that to start. but what a show it was. I mean, you want to talk about all the things combined together, great weather, the Musco entertainment system that was implemented this year, the retirement. It's almost like there's a certain team out there like putting all these things together, making a great fan experience. I don't know who those would be, but they do a great job. Cam Newton's, I'm not going to say that someone couldn't have done it better, but I struggle to think of, what could have been better about it. We've got the full thing for you on our YouTube, Facebook, if you want to watch it, clips from it as well. Obviously did a nice little reenacting with the etching of the Musco system and the lasers and stuff of his Heisman run with the late Rod Bramblitt's call of it. And then the light just shone down on number 2 in the middle, or Cam Newton in the middle of the field. And then we got the unveiling happen. So I just did a quick overview of that. You talk about whatever you want to talk about with this moment and this special thing.
Yeah, really, really cool to see, and just something that, we've talked about for a while and all knew was coming, but got to see everything that was entailed and thought out so meticulously go into it. Obviously, the lights and the custom logos and different things they're able to put out there was very neat. But I think that without being there, it's hard to quite understand how very cool it was. And I just like all the nuances about it. I thought it was very unassuming in a way. Like, I thought that Cam, there wasn't some big speech and there wasn't some thing that everyone was able to kind of listen in on, and you didn't have time for a lot of that in large part, but I really liked that there was something like the drape over the actual where it is, and then the unveiling of it. And that's very obvious that was going to happen, but you expect, like, I remember when Sonny Smith's in the arena was done, and it was something like that. You just don't think about that happening in the football stadium very often. When Auburn won the national championship, the flag around the end zones was just put up, and it wasn't, and so to see that in like a real moment of it being unveiled was very cool to me. And I honestly, my favorite part of the entire Cam night was just that Emily said someone gave him a megaphone. I said, I don't know if anybody gave him that.
I think Cam Newton when you get your jersey retired, you just get what you want. Basically.
I think Cam just probably picked it up and held on to it the rest of the night. But my favorite thing was just, we were down in that end zone, just watching him go back and forth. There was one moment in maybe the first half, and I don't know if it went to TV timeout or if it was something, but it was like they were coming down. Georgia was coming down to our side of the field on the north side, and there was a pause, and Cam was over about like on the Auburn sideline, about where the recruits usually are. And he like realized they were coming down and grabbed his megaphone and just took off. And it was like, I got to get over there and make sure they hype up. And like 10 camera people just started running after him and sprinting, following him. And he wound up in front of, where the ROTC sits, and was just hyping everybody. And it just felt like he was having the time of his life, just like he did when he was playing. So just all in all, very cool to see Cam get his recognition, but also be back a part of the Auburn family, back a part of the entire game day atmosphere.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just, I know that's an overused phrase and word here, but just all of it put together with the projections on the field, the moment of him put the spotlight on him, and then the unveiling, his family being out there. They obviously almost got run over by the band because they needed to get out there and do their show too. But it was just great all the way around. You think back to all the other retirements, and while I'm sure they were special in their own right, we just live in an era where we're blessed with things where you can do cool spectacles like this that just add to the legend status of it. As many non-biased entities said, the greatest single season in college football history, some consider it, and I think there's a very strong case for that. So it's very much warranted. It's very much appropriate, and forever and ever in Auburn history, number 2 will always be honored and revered and forever retired. And I want to add this too. A lot of people talk about, Cam's certainly got a bold personality and all these things like this. When he was asked, like, what does it feel like to know that nobody's worn the number 2 before it was retired? And he pointed out, you're forgetting someone. Aaron Savage wore it at the exact same time as me, obviously on defense. And I think that's speaks to what people forget about Cam sometimes, that as much as he's big, in your face, bold and stuff like that, he was always a team guy. And so he wanted to call out Aaron Savage as well. So all that to be said, what a great event. Cam, you have deserved it, buddy. And we are so excited that your history's already been written, but your legacy is forever secured, forever too, up there with the greats of 7, 34, and why am I blanking on the last
88.
one? 88. I knew it. I was like 88. All of those guys very much deserving. The last piece of this great evening. How about that band? We did it again, baby. Brought the house down with another, partnering with the engineering department, I'm sure, with the light up. We got Game On, baby. We've had just news throughout the offseason of them being part of the EA Sports college football game, doing the opening music for that. And I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff that they were a part of. Had people trying to tell me that they didn't do that part of it. And I'm like, I think you're wrong on that. I'm just going to be honest with you. Why would you hire out, I'm sure, in some capacity, a band to do it and not get them to at least record some other things just in case you want to use it? So despite all that, this was about video games and but the big part was the EA Sports. Once again, we've got the video for you. If you'd like, the Auburn University Marching Band also has theirs as well. If you want to check out theirs too, I always want to promote them too. Clips from it, all that kind of stuff. Please do support everybody who's been putting those out if you can. And I think it's just awesome what they did of integrating different genres of video games. The sports video game, we got Mario, we got like I guess you call it the medieval games or whatever. I don't do these things. What
same. I'll be honest. There were some where I was like, I got no idea what that is.
Racing games were in there with the car.
The car was very cool.
Yeah.
I was very partial to the Mario one. I thought that was very neat and very well done. And just, I'll be honest, I was never in the band. I'm not musically talented enough at all whatsoever. But I think that the thing that I was looking at the entire time is, one, it's dark. 2, they got to play all these songs that I know they've been working on probably for a really long time, but they still got to play them in the dark, and they got to walk around in the right formations in the dark. And and all while probably wondering if their hat is on. And so as in like lit up. And I just thought it was very cool and very well done. The band and Dr. Sperlin continue to just put out an incredible performance each year, every halftime, but each year when they do these special ones. And I know we've talked about it before. I think we did last year, that there's a subsect of Auburn Engineering that helps with the lights and the synchronization of all of it. But it's very cool, and always very cool to see. And especially now with how quickly the lights can come on and off, that they are center stage for their time. And it was very well received. I felt like everybody, there was a plea to stay in your seats for halftime for Cam's retirement and the band. And I just felt like hardly anybody moved, which is very cool and very, very well deserving for those students that work so hard too.
Yeah, even the Georgia fans, they wanted to see the Cam Newton retirement. They wanted to see the band show as well, because that's how big the Metallica show was that did so well. Still the most viewed video we have on our YouTube channel, frankly. And so go check every element of it out. Look at all this. I'll probably put clips out or photos of each of the little different formations so you can appreciate them in some great detail. I would imagine they'll do the show again this week. I don't see why you wouldn't. You practiced it. You're prepared for it. You've got the system. So if you
got night game again,
can't guarantee it's going to happen, but I would, if you want to see this in person, and you should, besides the football, come on out to the Missouri game and check that out. I hope that they'll be doing that again for you. Well done, Auburn University Marching Band.
Very well done.
Dr. Sperlin, Dr. Gross, I don't know how to thank everybody that's done it. And I hope that you all are showing the appreciation. This is why we stress the Auburn experience here, folks, because if you're valuing the whole story, the whole experience of it, it makes those little dark things not so dark, especially when it's lit up like it was. The Auburn band. Okay, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but I tried my hardest to make it. No, I get no claps, right? I get none of
no
those.
claps.
No claps. No claps. All right, so there is our analysis of all the other stuff outside the football for a great weekend. One quick note that I want to bring up, and I think you and I actually should have talked about this, but it is a comment in the chat that I want to bring up because it's a cool part of the Auburn story and element. Tiger Rags is certainly making another bit of a comeback. They have returned recently as well. I think there's been some management changeover and things like that, acquisitions of I'm sure. But I forget how you pronounce the store's name downtown where they've been featured for a while.
Yes, it's
Atelier.
Atelier is correct.
Atelier.
My southern self has called it Atlier for so long, but it is Atelier. Atlier. That's what my brother and I call it. Atlier.
Where y'all going downtown? I'm going to Atlier.
Atlier, but Atelier is a if you're not familiar, is a downtown store. They used to be a couple blocks off downtown. They're one of these, ever popular, growing in popularity vintage stores that finds the vintage clothes for you and sells for them. This is not a sponsorship bit, but
we like promoting people.
Hey, let us know. But I think that they're downtown Auburn. We talk about downtown Auburn a lot, but they're one of these stores that finds the vintage clothes for you. They have a lot of really cool selection stuff. I've been in there a lot myself, and they sell it secondhand, I guess maybe third, fourth hand sell it. But Austin is the guy that owns it, and he has now acquired Tiger Rags and is kind of bringing them back. He's I've talked with him once or twice, but he is actually in contact with the same, and the artist is my name is the artist name is I'm losing it, but I cannot remember his name now, but he's back in contact with him. Same guy that we're all used to seeing, the souped up strong Obby designs. I think they've been redoing, kind of bringing back some designs this year to refresh for opponents that we play regularly. I know this past week's Georgia one was one from like 95, 94, and there's just a refresh and selling that shirt again. But very cool. I love it. That Tiger Rags and those images is a very core memory for me in childhood, and I hope to see them continue that maybe in other sports and as it gets bigger. But I'm very happy to see someone very invested in it and wanting to kind of bring it back to what it was.
Absolutely. Because it's, our friend Clint Richards says all the time, if you don't know your history, you can't value it. And if you don't value it, you'll lose it. So this is part of the Auburn experience and part of the Auburn history. So we're glad that it's still a part, and hopefully getting a fresh take on it, and with new hands and all that stuff. And we're thankful for those. We're thankful for those that started it, those that transitioned with it, and where it is now today. So keep supporting it so we can continue to have Tiger Rags around for a long time. That'll cover it for the Auburn Experience, episode 145. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your patience with me during my wild schedule times and in my weird places. Once again, I just can't for the life of me, Austin, figure out why I continue to hear just clanga everywhere I am right now. But so with that being said, thank you so much for being here. If you want to keep up with me on X, you can do at Kyle Loomis 24, E2C Network, direct messages, email e2cnetwork@gmail.com. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott. That's where I am on pretty much everything. So let me know.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here, hanging out with us, and spending some time being a part of our family. As we go, we always remind you that the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things: to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, there we go. That's the show. And believe it or not, I have 5 minutes left on my iPhone. That's the camera. So nice. I will wrap up quickly here, but final thoughts for you, sir.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the chat. Hunter, I don't know how old you are, but what is a Tiger Rag made me feel really old.
So Hunter and I have gotten to meet each other finally in person. And yes, he's not that much younger than us, but I've discovered that we are
us or me.
Me. He's probably slightly younger than you, but he's a dad too, so he's got the he's getting the life events going on in there too. Sure. So we've discovered that we certainly see things from two different eras of Auburn lore and that kind of stuff, and our opinions that we hold about things. But it's good. That's
Tiger Rags is very cool. It's like one of my favorite things.
But we will consider taking your Auburn card from you since you asked that question about what it is.
I am going to consider it. Thank you for your support, though, too. I did see that.
Thank you for I had it on my little thing. So we also, Joe re-upped, I think. Joe's been a member for a long time, but I want to make sure that we give him thanks for at least re-upping, because he's got that. If you never want to be a channel member, you get those icons next to your name, the little toilet paper rolls. It doesn't look like it on here, but trust me, on YouTube, it's there. Hunter, as well as one of those, but he did a super chat. He says, Missouri's mascot is not a real tiger. We agree.
It does look strange. My kids are
much better than Clemson's, though. Let's be honest. I mean, that's not even something. That's nonsense. That's what that is.
That's right.
All right, sir. Anything else from you?
I think I'm good. Hope everybody has a good week, sir. You and I will be talking soon. Hope you have a good week, and we'll get to it.
I'll try to get some sleep between everything else going on here in the clanger.
Please do. Just yeah. I don't know what to tell you to do about them. You just might have to put some earbuds in. They got good ice cream.
They do have good ice cream. They do.
All right, man. War Eagle.
War Eagle. All right, you guys are stuck with me for just a few minutes here. Once again, we did thank our super chats and our new members that sign back up. Thank you guys for that. I probably not gonna have time for questions because my phone is about to die. We had a great crowd, great experience throughout. Keep in mind if you're getting here late and you're like wondering why we weren't interacting that much with the chat during the show, we're focusing on doing the show. Typically, I leave some time for that. It's not going to really have the time or the battery power to do that. So if it exits here at the last second, you know what happened. But reminders for you, keep in mind, schedule is tentative this week. We're going to be planning to do an Auburn Family Night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central on YouTube. We'll also be planning a preview and prediction show for Auburn, Missouri, 9 Eastern time, 8 Central on Thursday. We'll have scheduled stuff. We'll have some other things throughout the week in terms of content, social media work that we'll be getting as much as we can. Hopefully we'll have a lot more time this week. Appreciate you guys for being here, hanging out with us, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Thank you guys so much. We love you. Till we talk to you again. War Eagle.